The opposition has deep reservation, and those reservation comes from a slew of recent responses and action by the government on some important constitutional issues. The matter of how they changed the constitution in the DPP matter has colored the opposition views, the current government and other governments who could act in similar fashion or worse.
Bless up my people. Welcome back to the channel. It's a girl and Isabel Rose. Thanks for all the new subscribers. Thanks to returning subscribers. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn the post notification bell on, put it on all so you won't miss an upload from me. On the road to 20k, help me to get there, my people. So in this one, my people, more on the constitutional reform and the roadblock that has been going on with the opposition and the current government. And my people, there's a big constitutional reform committee meeting that's supposed to be held today, and they said that they will consider Mark Golding's recommendations, as well as Prime Minister Andrew Holness issues directives on school violence. I don't want to miss this, my people. Stay tuned for the details at hand. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Run over to my other platform, subscribe over there, get that channel to 1k for me, please and thanks. So my people, following the standoff, basically the roadblock in the whole constitutional reform between the opposition and the government, we've seen a member of the Constitutional Reform Committee, Anthony Hilton, says that breakdown is because of a lack of trust, between the government and the opposition. And it's also due to the fact that they cannot decide or they cannot state whether they will move away from the Privy Council and allow the Caribbean Court of Justice to be the final court of appeal. Mr. Hilton says the government's handling of constitutional matters has given the People's National Party reason to not trust them. And it's not just the opposition that don't trust them. Quite a few of the citizens doesn't trust the current government either. But still seeing people on the channel saying that, they don't even know what this constitutional reform is about. They don't even know about the current constitution. And it's a sad state when you see people are commenting and say they don't know. You understand? And this is why it's very important that the government comes out with more public education to get the public aware of the changes that they're planning to do to this whole constitution. Yeah. Hilton says only honest dialogue will restore trust in this government, and that the government must act in good faith and declare a position on the CCJ becoming Jamaica's final appellate court. He also agreed, my people, with the current Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, Marlene Fort, that trust will have to be rebuilt between the two political parties.
The opposition has deep reservation, and those reservation comes from a slew of recent responses and action by the government on some important constitutional issues. The matter of how they changed the constitution in the DPP matter has colored the opposition views, the current government and other governments who could act in similar fashion or worse. That the trust has been broken is obvious. How that is rebuilt, it seems to me that it cannot be rebuilt without dialogue. And dialogue cannot mean one party saying no, 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 and the other party is making his view very clear, and the other party is refusing to be forthcoming with their views. The matter of the CCJ is one good example. The issue we have is that the opposition has been very clear, and it's not Mr. Golding's issue. This is the opposition's issue. Historically, Mr. Golding has simply repeated what previous PNP administration has been saying. In the meantime, the government has been silent on what its position is, simply saying there's no consensus, that's being descriptive. That is not being prescriptive, and that is not giving the basis for dialogue and the search for solution.
I remain hopeful that the work to reform the Constitution will continue to make progress. I am mindful, though, that the trust is broken in the society. The trust is broken between the political parties, and we will have to work to rebuild that trust so that we can deliver to the people of Jamaica.
Meanwhile, we're seeing another government Senator Shireen Golden Campbell saying that Mark Golden's utterances is him trying to hold the constitutional reform process at ransom.
The position taken by the president of the PNP is doing an injustice to the process for the reasons I've mentioned. But let us say the shoe is on the other foot. How is he going to get agreement on these things if he were ever to form government? If he has taken the position he has taken now, it's as if he's driving us into a permanent stalemate on constitutional reform. So maybe it is that there needs to be a cooling off, but it's not so much about the period. It's really about the decision that the holder of the opposition office is taking that is inimical to the process, killing the process.
However, I beg to disagree with her, and this is just my opinion. I don't see his stance, holding the constitution reform at ransom, because there are just some things that needs to be dealt with in phase one. And even though they're saying that, their decision or the decision on the final court will be held in phase two, we don't know when that phase two will come. And so educating the public and letting us know whether or not they will move away from the Privy Council as the final court of appeal is very important to phase one. Letting the people know what is in this whole constitutional reform is very important. Letting the people know what this executive or this hybrid president is very important in this first phase of the reform. But only make me know what to think based on what's said so far in this video. Don't forget to drop a like on the video as well, my people. However, my people, we're seeing Malahoo Ford, basically saying that they will have a constitutional reform committee meeting today to consider Mark Golding's recommendations. Mark Golding has presented a list of 14 points arising from the final report of the committee, which he says requires serious consideration. And among his recommendations are the expansion of the Senate to 42 members, that dual citizens be eligible to sit as members of Parliament, and for the creation of a mechanism to permit the impeachment of legislators. The absence of those issues from the report form part of his reason for advising the People's National Party representatives against signing the committee's final report. It's also noted that constitutional scholar Dr. Lloyd Barnett has presented draft responses to Mark Golding's concerns, and he says that those responses will guide the committee's deliberations today, and if Mark Golding's comments are accepted, they will also be presented to the cabinet for review. And some people, it's noted also that the Constitutional Reform Committee are scheduled to appear before cabinet coming Monday to explain their recommendations to the public. Some people want to stay tuned for that. And for the one and few people that I've seen saying there are more pressing issues to speak on other than this whole constitution reform. This is a pressing issue because the people of Jamaica need to know what's going on. And so we now come off of it. Well, at least I am not coming off of it until the people is satisfied. Now in this segment, my people, in the recent spate of high school-based violence across the island, we've seen Prime Minister Andrew Holness coming out now, giving, directives for issuing early surge and seizure policy at all schools across Jamaica. I mean, I know for some reason, my people, why did I think that surge did go on in all schools across the country from before? I don't know, but I thought that was going on before. However, I do hope and believe that they will beef up securities at all the schools as well to surge the children properly so that they don't carry any weapons at all on the compound to hurt another child if there should arise any form of conflict. They need to learn how to deal with conflict better and increase social workers, guidance counselors to speak to these troubled children. But here what the Prime Minister has to say, my people.
We have discussed with the Ministry of National Security and the Ministry of Education that all schools must review their entry policy, they must review their search policy, and in particular, they must now seek to put in place measures to detect and seize weapons in schools, particularly knives and other implements that can be used to cause damage. So that directive will go out through the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of National Security shortly. Schools must increase the level of searches to detect these weapons that are being brought into the school compound. We all know that the response to this cannot only be on the level of a security response. This is a social problem. The truth is that the children are coming out of households which are not always reinforcing the values of the society or reinforcing what is being taught in the schools. And many of these children are without guidance and direction. And so initiatives like yours, which are considered part of the social intervention, including what the government is doing with having introduced a few years ago the Deans of Discipline and increasing the central capabilities of the Ministry of Education with social workers to intervene in specific cases. We are augmenting the capabilities of the government to provide the level of social intervention. Certainly in terms of the National Parenting Support Commission, greater effort and greater work needs to be done through that institution to engage parents far more in ensuring that their children are better able to deal with conflict and have the tools at their disposal for peaceful resolution of conflicts, and that parents themselves pay greater attention to their children. We know that bullying in schools is becoming a major issue. There are some schools in which it is uncontrolled, and the government is also paying close attention to that and will have the necessary social interventions both from the level of the security point of view, but more so from the engagement, particularly with our young males who are caught up in gang culture. Even if they are not part of a gang, they try to model and adopt this gang culture. And the only way to treat with that is the one-on-one direct intervention. I have directed the Ministry of National Security and the Ministry of Education to do a reassessment of the security risk of schools. So that way, we can get a better understanding of which schools are at risk and how to direct resources to those schools. We have already started to increase the number of case managers that would be available for community intervention and school interventions through the Ministry of National Security. We're going to increase the number of school resource officers, and the school resource officer program has been very effective, but from time to time, depending on the intensity of implementation, sometimes schools get resource officers and sometimes they don't. What we're going to seek to do now, after the conduct of this new assessment of the school, is to increase the numbers and then redirect some of these officers to those schools with the highest risk.
So right now, my people, the comment section is open for all of you who wants to voice on a comment in the comment section. Voice out on opinions and make me hear what I say based on everything that was said in this video, and so we can raise upon this. And if we can show in on 2 cents as well as to help, curtail and to eradicate the school-based violence, because it doesn't affect one, not because some of our children might be going to private school or whatnot. It affects all of us. And from you're a parent and you hear say something happened to a next man's child, automatically you're gonna, offer some form of empathy, and you're gonna feel it in a certain way. So when I jump down and make me know what I say, my people, Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Run go over to my other platform, Instagram and Facebook, and follow me over there at Anisabel Rose. Check out the YouTube store, make a purchase, it goes in support of the channel. Check out the YouTube membership. You get a lot of benefits by becoming a member. A shout out goes to Major Daps. Big up yourself, Major Daps, as well as Long Story. Big up yourself, Long Story. Thanks for the continued support from each and every subscriber. New viewers, come on board, join with me, join the family. Subscribe to the channel, like up the videos, share out the videos, support the ABR movement on the road to 20K. Help me to get there, my people. Stay tuned for more videos, stay tuned for more updates. On a big up on yourself. Happy Friday. Stay blessed.